Hi and welcome to The Winning Factor. I'm Alan Aitken, and on this show each week we take a look at some upcoming races in Hong Kong and try to isolate an angle to the race that might tell the tale and find the winner. Well, racing on Sunday this week, and it's kind of unique. One of the races we're going to deal with is a 2400 metre race. So that's race 8. It's our feature race of the day, the Queen Mother Cup, and our winning factor, the map. So the Group 3 Queen Mother Memorial Cup is one of only 3 races at 2400 metres in Hong Kong each season, and it's the only one run as a handicap. The presence of Russian Emperor here gives the race a touch of quality, but I do think the betting is going to revolve mainly around some other runners, with 5G Patch backing up from a nice run in the QE2 Cup. The former Chilean galloper Moments in Time has been in great form at Happy Valley, and the Derby third Ying generation will have their fans. So first of all, a little statistical look at this race, and every year 2 of the big topics of discussion going into this are the handicap weights and the distance. So here are the last 16 winners of the Queen Mother Memorial Cup, arranged from the biggest weight carried down to the lightest. Now, there's a lot to read there, but there are 2 key takeaways. First is that previous distance experience is irrelevant. All winners need to run the distance out, of course, but they don't have to have done it before. And as you can see here, most winners have never even attempted it. Even 2 of these winners who did have prior form at 2400 metres, Everbright and Dominant, had only gained that experience winning this race a year before at their first attempt. Secondly, it's not a race for top weights. Now, when you look at past weights, you also need to look at the handicap ratings. You can see there Bubble Chic won with 133 pounds, but that was a very weak year. His handicap rating of 102 would only see him carrying 120 pounds in this year's race. So don't read too much into the fact of that weight having been carried. Only one heavily handicapped winner, Dominant, already had a high rating, so Russian Emperor has a lot of history against him. For me, the serious focus here has to be on 2 horses, 5G Patch and Moments in Time. And we're going to take a look now at Moments in Time's latest win as he successfully moved up into Class 2. So this is race 571, and he's in gate 5, blue and yellow colours, and Zach Purton gets him out of the gates sharply. You can see the first 450 metres is actually a little bit busy on the heat map, and I think that's important later as the pace drops back to average, and Moments in Time doesn't really appreciate that, spending much of the rest of the race wanting to go faster again and fighting against Purton. Now that usually works against horses at the finish, but in the straight he keeps on coming under Purton's riding to scramble home. Now that tendency to run a bit keenly there probably isn't something you'd like to see going from 1650 metres up to 2400 metres, but I think that had a lot to do with the fact that he had to be livened up out of the gates to get forward, and then the pace dropped off. At his previous start in a more smoothly run 1800 metres, Moments in Time was more relaxed. But coming into this race, the red flashing light run of the form goes to 5G Patch from last week's QE2 Cup. This is race 624, gate 8, 5G Patch in yellow, white and blue. Jumps okay, but his rider is in no hurry and he drifts right back in a very strong early speed. Now, in fact, as they get around the turn going into the back straight, the second 400 metres here was the 3rd fastest of the last 20 years over the 2000 metre course, and this was on a wet track that was running slow times. So a brutal speed, but that isn't hurting 5G Patch. In fact, it helps him, as the lead group is certainly tiring in the home straight, and he runs on well, making up good ground quickly in the final stages. So that looked the run of a horse looking for further, and he gets it here. He was flattered by the hot speed up front. So how does this race set up? In some years, this is a very tricky race to map, with either a stop-start or just plain walking speed that throws plenty of runners off their game. I think we'll see a fairly run event this time. Money Catcher and Ying Generation potentially look the leaders. They'll both want to roll along evenly, Moments in Time will be right on their tails with Unbelievable, and Turin Mascot I think will find him much more prominent here, up in distance and from a better barrier draw. The others, including 5G Patch, lack the tactical speed to be close. They should get their chance, but I doubt they'll get a strong speed to assist them. But the tip from me in race 8, Moments in Time. His winning factor, the map. Now this horse is in great form at Happy Valley. I don't think he'll have a problem making the switch to Sha Tin. And as far as the map goes, well, he's going to be up on the speed and going clear, while 5G Patch is having to wind up. And if you are one of those wondering about the 2400 metres, in fact, Moments in Time was a Group 1 winner of a 2400 metre race in Chile before he came to Hong Kong, but he lost that race on a positive drug test. The other race I want to take a look at is race 10, and once again our winning factor is the map. So this is a Class 2 sprint, and there are plenty of talented horses in this, as usual in Class 2, but I think we're looking at a very narrow group of winning chances in this, with Packing Treadmill back in grade, he'll get his chance, and 2 emerging youngsters, Ying Rising up in class off a win, and Gorgeous Win racing very well. Now the way this sets up does give Packing Treadmill a chance despite the weights. More of that a little bit later on. But we saw David Hayes run a 3-year-old in the Chairman's Sprint last week, Little Bros, but I doubt that horse is even the best 3-year-old in Hayes' yard after what we've been seeing lately from Ying Rising. Here's his latest, race 526. He's in red, blue and yellow, gate 11, and Zach Purton bounces him out to make some use of him from the start, looking to offset the draw. But Call Me Glorious, his rival in this race, is quick enough to hold him out. Now, as the heat map shows, the early pace wasn't onerous, but they were still using some energy early, especially Ying Rising from the outside gate with 135 pounds in the saddle. However, in the stretch, it doesn't matter. Their rivals can't get near them. The 2 very promising young horses come away, and even 14 pounds advantage in the handicap isn't enough for Call Me Glorious, as Ying Rising wins with authority. Now that was the win of a horse headed for group racing, but there's another 3-year-old here, Gorgeous Win, and I think his fans might say the same of him. This is his latest in race 585. He's in red colours, gate 3. He jumps okay, but Alexi Bedell is happy to take a trail. Lucky Encounter, he quickly takes up the running, but it's a very slow first 400 metres, and that proves decisive. The shape of this race was slow early, up to a normal mid-race speed, but the leader had plenty of energy left turning for home, rattling down the stretch almost 5 lengths faster than average in 21.38 seconds, and it was impossible for Gorgeous Win to reel him in. Beaten but far from disgraced there, Gorgeous Win. However, if he found that map tough from gate 3, he's going to find this one even tougher. As mentioned earlier, Packing Treadmill does have a chance here, even giving a lot of weight to these very much upwardly mobile 3-year-olds, because I expect Lyle Hewitson to bounce him out and look for the lead from the inside draw. Purton this time won't have to use Ying Rising as much from gate 5 to sit outside the leader, and this time with only 120 pounds to carry, but Gorgeous Win from gate 8 probably won't even get as good a run as he got last time, and this race looks like being run in a similar fashion. So the tip in race 10, Ying Rising. His winning factor, the map. Now, I don't think there's a huge amount between these 2 3-year-olds if it was a fair contest, but the way this race sets up, I don't think it's going to be, and Ying Rising is going to get all the ticks. Well, that's it from the winning factor this week. Enjoy the group racing on Sunday. We'll see you next time.